Any discussion we have about recommended gear for a bass is going to have to include a discussion about strings. There are lots of different schools of thought on strings regarding how often you should change them, whether you should change them at all, what type you should use. The three main types being flat wound, round wound, and nylon wrapped. Nylon wrapped, you're rarely going to see. They're pretty expensive. They're kind of a niche thing. Um, they produce a very unique and cool sound, but it doesn't really match up with the style of music, any of the styles of music that I play, because they're just, again, a niche thing. The strings that I prefer are round wound to flat wound. But if you're a precision bass fan and you want to get a 1950s, 60s early electric bass sound, um, flat wounds are what they used back then, and they do have a little bit of a unique tone to them. They have a very unique feel to them, and a lot of people prefer that feel. I'm just not in that camp. I prefer Ernie Ball is the manufacturer, and the strings that I like of theirs are the super slinky bass strings. I prefer them to the regular slinky. So if the word you're getting caught in your head there is slinky, make sure you include the word super in there if you want them for the reason I want them. They're a little bit thinner gauge. They are than standard strings. They are very, very soft on the hands compared to the strings every other string I've tried. Um, they're not super super soft, but a spongier enough to where it's just I notice a difference at the end of the day. How often do I change my strings? Again, I'm part of the deader is better camp. So I basically throw these on there and leave them on there um, until I just get an urge to replace them, right? I probably am even replacing them before I need to. That is not because I don't like the sound of brand new, fresh strings. I actually do. I'm just cheap. Most of the people in the Deader is Better camp, the style of music that they play, they prefer a muted string to a super bright one. There is the camp that says, oh, you constantly need to change these strings. If you're playing every single day for a couple hours a day, you need to change these things at least once a month. 20 bucks or, a little under 20 bucks a month. I figure shipping in there. There's just no way shipping tax, whatever, it's going to be over 20 bucks, probably 23, 24 bucks. I'm not going to spend that much on strings. Just what I'm playing my bass for just doesn't justify it. As you can see here in the description, if you're reading this, Jimmy Page, Eric Clapton, Steve Vai, Slash, they're throwing the guitar guys because they make guitar versions of these strings. They all prefer super slinkies. I'm sure if we click on here to read more about it, there'll be some bass guys listed in that description. Sorry, I got the hiccups here. Um, So that is the string that I like. Now, before you change out your strings, don't just think you know what you're doing and then pull the strings off there, compare the length, cut them straight, and then throw them on there. If you do a straight cut on your strings, you're going to ruin your strings. There's a video out there by a guy named Scott of Scott's Bass Lessons, and if you're not watching his lessons, I highly recommend you subscribe to his channel and watch his lessons. He's got a video on changing strings that's great, and he's got lots of tips on how to properly string your bass so that way you're not making a brand new string sound completely dead, where he basically shows you how to properly pinch off, um, crimp the string, and then cut it so that way the inner core of the string doesn't get sucked down into the string, and now you got a totally dead string. And he helps you figure out how to determine how long they should be, how to properly coil them, and turn them around your tuning pegs. So that way, you strung it right. You would not believe all the pictures you find suturing when you Google people, fail on restringing a bass. People end up doing some pretty strange things. So please, please, please watch that video or someone else's video on how to properly restring your bass before you do so. And if you like this video, please like, share, subscribe. All three help us considerably.